it's monumental. Speaking of American achievement, I mean, you have space exploration, and then you have hamburgers, right?
Yeah.
They're both American. Now, given the choice of whether we pour all our government dollars into space or into hamburger research, I vote hamburger research.
There's room for both.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
We're in the end of Western Civilization 2 class. I think it's a second-year class.
It's a good documentary.
It's pretty... And it's pretty interesting because they talk about, in this text, they talk about how there was much backlash from the impoverished people in America. While America was launching their space program, there were still a lot of people living below the poverty line. So there was a lot of protest and backlash from certain parts of the population that were like, hey, how can you spend billions on space research, but you can't, really do much to in the way of social programs, So then I think it was actually Lyndon Johnson, is what the text indicates, that instituted a lot of these social programs. And part of it, the Romans know. They knew that you can't have the masses, complaining and wanting. Part of running a successful society is appeasing, a certain amount of the populace, giving them a chance, giving them something back. And that's what Lyndon Johnson kind of instituted some of these policies to make people feel like, okay, they're doing the space race and they're putting all this research into money or money into research for space development and military technology, but why are people still poor kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so they did, I couldn't name all the social programs that they kind of instituted, but like the Head Start preschool program and stuff like that. Like free Head Start preschool program, stuff like that. And so it was their way of kind of assuaging people that were like, how can you spend all this money on space research but not on poor people, right?
Yeah, I think it's also an interesting thought that, that idea, people complaining that space research is expensive, kind of have this thought about it where there's not going to be any benefit to them into the technology that comes from that research. Mm-hmm. A lot of different technologies have become more accessible due to space research.
Sure. And
so I think that's one of those things where on the surface they're like, what does going to the moon do for us? We need. I understand that part of it, but it's also it looks a little short-sighted.
Well, it's hard
to
appreciate GPS technology 40 years or 30 years before its fruition, when you're hungry and your kids are hungry, or you don't think you have opportunities.
Yeah, but now GPS can tell you where you can't afford food.
Well, that doesn't help you 30 years ago.
It helps us now.
Now it does, and I think that speaks to what you're saying is in the moment it's hard to realize that stuff, but eventually most of it develops into a good thing. Of course, some of it has now allowed us to shoot rockets at each other from space, so that's another offshoot of that technology, right?
Yeah. But you were talking about burger research.
Ah, yes, burger research. Speaking of brilliant things, I couldn't believe, I thought this was, I saw sometimes have you ever seen people send lasagna or even soup or something in a Ziploc bag? And sometimes it doesn't, it's Ziplocked and all the air's out of it, so it doesn't look like food.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you open it and you're like, oh, it's lasagna. Or, oh, it's, I thought it was just meat and cheese is what I thought this was. But it's an actual burger. It's just a huge-ass burger, right?
Yeah. So this is the 20 by 20. I think this is I don't know, Danny Trejo's in the video, but I don't know if this is something his restaurant is putting out or something.
Did they hit him with a water balloon in this?
I got the 20 by 20 hamburger ready. Now,
first of all, can you pause that? He is
20
holding. How many? Is that even a patty? What the fuck is that?
I'm assuming it's 20 patties and 20 pieces of cheese.
Holy shit! Okay, that makes sense.
So 20 by 20.
I was gonna ask you what the 20 by 20 was for, but
look at his fucking eyes. It looks like just by looking at the 20 by 20, his blood pressure has skyrocketed.
He's got a shit just by looking at the burger, right? Have you ever eaten like a Dave's triple?
You eat a Dave's quadruple?
Oh, dude, you eat a Dave's quadruple at Wendy's, guaranteed you're gonna shit 10 minutes later, dude. It's just the way it works. It's too much food.
I'm still trying to figure out what's happening for dinner. That sounds good.
Yeah, so a 20 by 20, I mean, it looks delicious. Would you, I mean, if you were given this, you would take a few bites, right? No? Not big on cheeseburgers?
I love a cheeseburger. It's just this feels a little gimmicky, like it might not be seasoned at all. Like it's just 20 fucking unsalted patties.
It's still got to be good.
It might be.
I'm going to try it.
Is there even a bun?
No, I can't do it. Hey.
I got it, Danny.
Monster jaw kid. Yeah. That is horrific.
That I would definitely try that. They used to, I think probably one of the biggest burgers I ever had was the they used to have the Bennigan's place. You know, it's like a pub, old Bennigan's, and they had the Bennigan's Big Burger, and it was like this huge patty, like this big. And usually I would get that, you know, on hangover days. That was really good. But it wasn't as much meat and cheese as this is, I don't think.
Yeah, that's a lot.
When's Beetlegeist 2 come out?
September.
Okay.